All right, today I'm going to talk with Dr. Beran. He's a chemistry professor at ASU who has ran multiple marathons and is also a co-owner of 3R Training Group. They help people with running and how to incorporate running into their lifestyle. And so I'm really just trying to get more options out there and just to help people move more. And he'll be able to provide us valuable insight on how to start running, how to progress if you are running, and even give tips on how to run your first marathon if you're training that far into it. All right, well, I'm just trying to get people moving a little bit more. We talked about resistance training in the past. Today I wanted to bring in Dr. Beran and talk about how to start running and how to do it safely. And so we can just get people moving a little bit more if that's something you're interested in. Dr. Beran is head of the chemistry department at ASU and a co-owner of 3R Running Club.
3R Training, yes sir.
3R Training.
Yep.
And what is your history with running? What have you done in the past?
In the past, well, I started running probably in 2008, so 17 years ago. Daughter was playing soccer, and during her soccer practices, I'd go run around the block and run around 2 blocks, and before you know it, I'm doing 5Ks and all sorts of stuff. So it's been kind of a 17-year journey.
Okay.
And I guess I should, for these purposes, just call me Kyle. You don't have to say Dr. Beran is chemistry.
Okay.
Running is non-chemistry, and so.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been a long journey from running around the block to doing marathons, and then starting up 3R Training with a couple of ladies to kind of help people move along and meet their goals, whatever those goals might be.
So y'all do training and help people kind of in all of the stages of running, from just people who are beginning to people who are training marathons or have run marathons?
Exactly, yeah. I've worked with a gentleman who simply just wanted, give me training, no goal, no nothing, other than I want some running exercises, some running workouts, and some strength workouts. That was it. And then I have a lady I'm working with who is had one of her clients. She helped him train for the Houston Marathon. Just give me something to do I want to run a marathon, and I have a particular goal time. So anything in between. Our coaches, the co-owners, and myself can help people move along to whatever their goals might be.
So I want to start at the very beginning. Somebody who is sedentary, and we've talked with them. They're like, they realize, okay, I do need to move more.
Yeah.
How do you view that person, and what do they need to, be considerate of as they start moving? How do you kind of assess that person?
The start moving to kind of get off the couch, so to speak, is do what we're doing now. Just start walking.
Okay.
And I wouldn't go out from the couch and try to walk an hour. I'll start simple. Let's go 15 minutes.
Okay.
And do that for a week. 3 or 4 times a week, do 15-minute walk, and then the next week amp it up to 20-25 minutes. Part of the issue is, from what I've seen, people just kind of go gung-ho out of the blocks, and their body's not ready for that. Their ligaments, their tendons aren't ready for that kind of stress on their body, and they end up getting hurt. They end up getting way too sore to do anything the next day, and that's detrimental to what they want to do. Set small goals or short goals, and then slowly expand upon that.
And so I do see, there's always the couch to 5K challenges and stuff. What is a realistic time for somebody to want to go from couch to 5K? They say I've seen it all, like do it in a 4 weeks, 6 weeks, but.
With nothing, that's everybody's different.
Okay.
For example, my wife did a 5K and did no training.
Okay.
She walked and it took her an hour, and she was pleased with that, and that was great for her.
Yeah.
And so it kind of depends on your motivation and what you want to accomplish. I'd say 8 to 10 weeks if you really want to run it and push it hard and go for time.
Right.
But I think the first 5K, if you're going from couch to a 5K, just go out and have fun. If it takes you an hour, okay, that's all right.
Yeah.
Just go out and have fun with it and be part of that community. And eat your banana when you're done, and
Yeah.
high five people. I mean, it's much more than, can I break 25 minutes or whatever. It's, can I go out and have fun and think about, I want to do another one.
Yeah.
And that's so much more important than a time frame is, can I do another one? Let's go do another one.
So to get started, do I need anything fancy? Do I need to go buy expensive shoes?
You just need what's most important to get started is an attitude.
Okay.
I mean, you can spend hundreds of, I don't know about thousands. I've never spent thousands, but you can spend hundreds of dollars on shoes and hair bands and all sorts of stuff, and feel free to do so. But really, to get started, the most important thing is the gumption. Is, hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to change my lifestyle and make it much more active.
Mm-hmm.
And with that attitude, that's the first thing you need. And then all the other stuff, the shoes, the shorts, the tank tops, the we call them sports bras or whatever, that's all secondary.
Yeah.
That's all secondary. You gotta have the mental fortitude to start with.
Sometimes it feels like if you look at all the different metrics that it could be overwhelming. Is my shoe the right incline? What cadence do I keep? Heel time.
Oh yeah,
all that.
you can Google stuff and you'll drown in information. and a lot of it's good information, but if you're not ready for that type of information, then you're wasting your time. Again, you got to have fun with what you're doing.
Yep.
And then once you start having fun with what you're doing, then you can start thinking about, okay, let me get some shoes that are specific for my foot. Or let me worry about cadence. How many steps per minute should I be taking? But that's the next phase.
Right.
That's the next step in the process. Because you even I kind of, I'll Google something and I'm like, well, I'm overwhelmed with information.
Yes, yeah.
And it's too much. And so I scale it back and try to focus on one thing and deal with that issue before I start trying to move on to shoes and do I need an armband for my phone, or what type of earbuds should I have? And it's a lot of stuff.
It is in somebody that is just starting. Do you have any tips on kind of injury prevention? Are you stretching? Are you just walking? Is just walking a good warm up, or anything specific you need to work on to help
if you're
prevent
just
injuries?
starting and you want to run it, then I would spend 10 minutes just walking to the point where your heart rate's getting elevated. Maybe you're starting to sweat a little bit. Now in the winter it's hard to tell, but yeah, a little sweat. You want to warm up, and then do some basic stretches. Stretch the hamstrings, the quads, the calves. Give them a nice little stretch. Do your run, whatever that might be, and then cool down with a 10-minute walk.
Okay.
So start the heart rate up, do your run to where your heart rate's elevated, and then come back down and walk it off. And if that's a 10-minute workout or a 30-minute workout, whatever it might be, but that's kind of the overall process is warm up a little bit, get your intensity in, and then cool it down.
Okay. So let's kind of transition to somebody who has been running for a little bit. They can run a mile or so, but they're still trying to make that entire 5K. And now they can run a mile. Would you have them just to try and get to that 5K run, just keep running, or do you have them run a mile, then walk a minute or two, then run a couple minutes?
There's a whole lot of philosophies about that. Personally, I like to start with a 1 minute run, 1 minute walk, and do that for 15-20 minutes in between your warm up and your cool down. As you get stronger, as your muscles and ligaments start adapting to the challenges, then you can go for a 3-minute run, 1 minute walk, and then slowly increase the run time, but keep the walk time the same.
Okay.
And over time, and this is like 4 to 6 weeks or so, then you can go out, run a mile, and walk for a few minutes. Run another mile, walk for a few minutes. And then maybe the next week it's 1.5 miles, and you're walking a little bit. So over time, you get your ligaments, your muscles, your tendons used, because I tell you, the stress you put on your body, your ankles, your feet, your knees, your hips, is tremendous. And so you got to get that tissue used to that kind of impact and that kind of force. And so, little bites, and then gradually increase the amount of running that you're doing.
Okay. So now running a little bit more, getting a little bit more used to it.
Yeah.
When are you putting in sprints or hills or quicker intervals, or is that part of a program?
I like the sprints and the intervals because it breaks up the monotony. I mean, if you're going to go, I'm going to go run 2 miles 3 times this week. Well, if it's all the same 2 miles, it's the same 2-mile route, then that's mentally, at least from my perspective, that's mentally numbing. And so to throw in, I'm going to run 2 miles, but the middle mile, half mile to 1.5 miles, I'm going to do at 80% effort or something. Or I'm going to run for a 1/4 mile hard. I'm going to walk for 1/10 of a mile, and then run a 1/4 mile, and then walk for 1/10. I mean, just to break up the monotony of it.
Okay.
Because that is one of the challenges with running, is you got to have you got to break up the mental aspect. You got to keep it interesting. At least for me. I mean, there's some people that can do all this on a treadmill, staring at a television screen. More power to them. I can't do that. 30 minutes on a treadmill is like 2 hours for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm done. It's too much. So I like the mental diversity.
Do you have any specific music, or like, I put on like Lord of the Rings and like I'm Samwise Gamgee and I'm going through.
No, I'm not.
Taking the ring to Mordor.
No, I'm not saving Frodo or anything like that.
Fighting Nazguls.
No, I'm doing Five Finger Death Punch and Metallica. And that's where I'm getting my energy from.
Okay.
But yeah, not the Lord of the Rings. Although that's my favorite book of all time and my favorite movie series. But yeah.
Do you follow heart rate zones? Are you going off your effort? Are you incorporating those?
Again, that's an individual thing. And so the individual has to choose one. You can choose effort, you can choose heart rate, but don't try to mix the two together.
Okay.
Because it's overly complicating things.
Okay.
If you're going to say, hey, I need to focus on heart rate, then you're running certain workouts. For example, an easy run, you would try to keep your heart rate into zone 3, maybe a little bit into zone 4. And if you're doing effort, then you're looking at 50% effort, maybe a little bit into the 70% effort. And so it's kind of like I tell my students, pick one way to do it, stick with it.
Okay.
Don't because it gets overly complicated. And for me, I'm very much of the KISS adage, keep it simple.
Right.
And so that's kind of my approach to my clients, as more importantly to myself.
Right.
I mean, otherwise, you can spend so much time worrying about stuff and overly concerned about data. For example, right now, I'm coming back from running from a 4-month injury. And right now, all I'm worried about is time on my feet.
Okay.
I'm not worried about heart rate, although I look at it, but I don't stress about it.
Okay.
So what was it? Monday, I did 20 minutes. Wednesday, I did 30 minutes. And it was that was my concern, is how long can I be on my feet and run?
Okay.
Just again, it's the keep it simple approach.
When let's kind of switch just to like nutrition a little bit. What are you doing prior to the runs, and does it make a difference? Like, when does a length or a distance start making, or a length or time start making a difference where I need to prep before, during, or after?
Once you start pushing or getting close to an hour-long run, you should kind of like have something to eat beforehand.
Okay.
And what that food is, you got to find it out for yourself, because everybody's stomach and intestinal gurgles are very much different. And so you got to find out what works for you. I can have a Cliff Bar.
Okay.
The chocolate chip flavor. No kickbacks on that. But so, I'll have something that I know my stomach can handle, my gut can handle, so I don't have the emergency during the run. But again, that's when you start approaching an hour-long effort.
Okay.
If you start going beyond that, then you got to start supplementing.
Okay.
And there's all sorts of goos and gels and candies that you can just kind of pop in or pump the gel out. But that's all personal preference.
Yeah.
Because some of the gels are very gummy, very thick, and some people don't like that. It kind of depends on who you are.
Right.
Doesn't matter whether we're talking couch to 5K or we're trying to do a marathon, you gotta kind of figure out what works for you.
Sure.
Whether it's shoes or nutrition or whatever the case may be.
So one of the R's is recovery. What are your recovery tips so that you can keep doing it?
Recovery tips. One is fuel.
Okay.
So when you're done with the workout, have some protein.
Okay.
Whatever form you think that protein should be, whether it's a shake or yogurt with berries, whatever. But after a workout, have something to eat. When you start getting up to the large miles, if you're like training for a marathon, then recovery may be 30 minutes on a stationary bike, where you kind of getting the legs going, the blood flowing, and kind of flushing. Really what you want to do is flush out all the lactic acid and the toxins that you've created in your muscles. And stationary bike, elliptical, something that's low impact, that you can kind of, again, help the muscles recover from all the stress you're putting on it.
Sure.
But for shorter distances, stretching. I mean, for any distance, stretching's good. Hey, just going for a walk. Take the dog for a walk. I mean, that's a good recovery process as well. But yeah, in terms of fuel, done with the workout, have something to eat.
Okay. With these longer the people kind of transitioning to the longer ones, training for the marathon.
Yeah.
How often are you running? Are you running every day?
No, not well. Some people do, but I don't recommend it, because for the majority of us, nice. For the majority of us, we're amateurs.
Right.
We really are, and I use the word hacks. We're hacks at this, and so I don't like 7 days a week. Optimal 4 to 5 days a week.
Okay.
And those 4 to 5 days of workouts are easy runs, maybe some tempo runs, some intervals, and a long run.
Okay. Are you ever programming any like specific resistance training or, weight training into these runners' days, or is that just a whole nother topic?
No, we also incorporate mostly body weight strength workouts,
Okay.
Lunges, isometric lunges, that sort of thing. Using
Okay.
bands, hopefully very inexpensive
Sure.
materials, but the materials that would help strengthen and hopefully reduce the risk of injury.
Okay. Like something that it seems like such a big gap from, it's like you can run a 5K pretty good, 10Ks are doable, 8 to 9 miles is okay, but then the marathon is just
It's a monster, isn't it?
is so far past that. How do you get from the 6 to 8 miles to 26.2 or even further?
Oh, the furthers, yeah. I've never run the furthers.
Okay. 26 is plenty. But.
Yeah. Well, what happens is, okay, I can do 8 or 9 miles. You know what? Let's try 9 or 10 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow, I did that and I feel pretty good. So let's try 11 to 12 miles.
Okay.
And so it's kind of, you kind of, that self-discovery of
Okay.
what you can do is part of the process.
Okay.
And when I was starting out with all this, I thought that was the coolest part.
Yeah.
Because you're right, you go from 5K, 10K, maybe a half. Okay, so you're doing 13 miles.
Yeah.
13.1.
Which is super impressive.
It's super impressive, absolutely.
But it's half.
It's half. You got another 13.1 to go. And so that training process of gradually increasing the time on your feet or the distance that you're running, you do a little bit at a time and you realize, holy crud, it's feasible. It's like, wow, I can do this. Okay. And so I thought that was the coolest part of that initial experience that I had.
Kind of backtracking to, you mentioned the emergency earlier. I've seen so many of those, like, that's just almost part of running a marathon, of just bowel evacuation.
Oh, bowel evacuation. Is that what we're calling it?
That's such a fancy way for me to
That's a nice way of saying it. I like that. Okay.
It's like, do you have any tips to prevent that, or is that just is that part of the
I have
process?
spent 15 years trying to figure out the perfect way to do a run without having emergencies.
Okay.
And eight times out of 10, I'm wrong.
Okay.
Part of it is training your body to evacuate before you start the workout.
Okay.
And so a lot of the time, especially out here in Texas, in the summer, you're running early morning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's 5:30 in the morning. So you got to train your body to evacuate at 5 a.m.
Right.
And your body will eventually get used to, oh, now's the time.
Okay.
And does it always work? No. But I've had good success with that. You got to train the body to go through that physical process 45 minutes, 30 minutes before the workout starts.
Gotcha. And
Or even 15 minutes. And
yeah.
yeah, it's and it also depends, what are you eating? What are you fueling up with? That'll have an impact on how the body reacts and what you got to do.
And on those longer runs, are you fueling every 60 to 90 minutes?
Actually, on the long run, when we're talking runs over an hour, maybe 2-hour run, it's about every 45 minutes.
Okay.
On the packages, it says, hey, take this every 45 minutes, 15 minutes before a run. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just guidelines.
Okay.
Me, myself, I should probably be doing nutrition every 35 minutes.
Okay.
Because I sweat profusely. And so I need to get those salts back into my body. Other people can go 45 minutes or an hour.
Okay.
And again, that's just an individual learning process, which is really hard to, you can't communicate that because we're all different.
Right.
And you got to kind of figure it out for yourself. But yeah, you get on those longer runs, then yeah, you're going to have to fuel
Okay.
at some point. Yeah.
And something that I have struggled with at times is, it's like, okay, I'm going to do a longer run, but then I felt pretty good, and now I'm going pretty good pace, and then, it's like, well, I could probably PR my 5K while I'm here. So now now I'm too fast, and I didn't PR it, or now and I didn't get.
Oh, you know what they
10K.
call it? Yeah, they call that the runner's high.
Okay, so
you just get all full of yourself and just go.
Yeah.
And the runner's high is a real thing. It doesn't happen every run. It may not happen maybe once a month as you start doing this, but there's that, oh, I can go, I can do it.
Yeah.
But when you're training, you got to remember, I'm training. I'm not racing.
Okay.
You gotta have that little bit of self-control to kind of hold yourself back and say, I'm just training right now. I should not be pushing my pace for a 5K PR. I should maintain and just go easy, or whatever the case may be. The training is not the race. And I've had a lot of friends that, they'll go out and do 20 miles at sub-marathon pace. Whatever their goal pace was, they'd go out and do 20 miles at a pace under what their goal was, and they'd feel great. And then when race time comes, they're burnt out. They overdid the training. They overtrained for it. And so part of that is a little bit of self-discipline to say, no. Pull back. My goal here is to get to the 5K PR or the 10K or the marathon. It's not to do it right now 4 weeks before my race or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And so how often are you doing a long run in a week whenever you are trying to build your muscle?
Once a week. Usually the way it works is if you're doing 4 workouts a week,
okay,
one of them will be an easy 30-minute, 45-minute, maybe an hour long run.
Okay.
Depending on what distance you're training for. And it's easy, low, I shouldn't say low impact, but a slow pace where your heart rate's just not going through the roof. Okay. And then another workout, maybe a 45-minute tempo run.
Okay.
Okay. Another one, the third one may be 30 minutes of doing intervals. You do 8 by quarter mile or something like that. And then the fourth one on traditionally Saturday or Sunday, depending on church and work and all that kind of stuff. Then the long run is, again, it's slow, it's easy, but it's over a time frame where you don't have to stress about getting back and hurrying up and get that shower in before work or whatever. But it's just a slow process.
What do you think, just for general health, everybody, what do you think would be the best, do you think probably 30 to 40 minutes every other day or so, or should everybody work towards something to keep them engaged, or what do you think?
I think having goals, I mean, you see it, the New Year's Day resolutions, and the gym is packed, and then by February there's nobody there. Because there's no goals. The only goal is I'm going to go. Well, why are you going? So I think having a goal is critical. And just saying, you know what, I'm going to go walk 30 minutes 3 times a week. Nothing wrong with that. But what's the end game?
Right.
What keeps you going back out? And I think that's kind of the mental issue is, why am I doing this? Yeah, we all want to be healthy. There's nothing wrong with that. But why? I mean, there's got to be a human, what am I shooting for?
Right.
And sometimes it is just health. But a lot of folks need that, I'm going to turn this into a 5K, or I'm going to turn this into something bigger than I can imagine. And I think that's that motivation, something to shoot for, is critical. At least in my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I'm not a runner. I'm just a guy that runs. And I've started kind of running every other day or so on the off days of resistance training, but it has really been probably one of the best things for my mental health. I run in the mornings.
Holy cow, it clears your head.
It's cold. I run with my
Yeah.
dog, and
You think about nothing but the cars.
yeah.
I mean, that's all you got to worry about is cars, and then in the morning, maybe some deer.
Yeah.
But it's a great stress reliever because you can leave the world behind for those 30 minutes or whatever and just you do you and not worry about nothing.
Yeah, it's just it allows me to just look at everything, and you're just in nature too. Just being in the morning sun and looking at things, and then I start doing all the gratitude things. I'm just thankful for everything being here.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's really helped me from a mental perspective, and that's really what's kept me going. But then But then also it's like my body, my resting heart rate dropped 10 points in like 6 weeks.
That is an amazing thing that running does for you.
Yeah.
Is that rest? Because my resting heart rate's like 44, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'll go to the hospital or ER or something. They'll go, "Hey, sir, are you okay?"
Yeah.
I go, "No, I'm fine. Why?" "Oh, your heart rate like 47."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, I'm a runner." And they go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
but no, it has an impact on your body and your health after the run.
Right.
I mean, it's an all day, all week thing.
Well, thanks for all coming out, the tips. If people want to get a hold of you or anybody on your team, what's the best way for them to reach out?
We have a website, 3rtraining.com. Or you can email us at 3rtrainingGroup, all one word. And again, the 3 is the number 3. 3rtrainingGroup@gmail. Both those contact points will eventually end up in my mailbox. The 3rtraining.com has a kind of a survey where you can kind of add a little bit more information about maybe age, what your goals are, your current health. Are you running now? Do you have injuries? You can provide us with a little more information about who you are and what your goals are. But an email works just as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming out.
Oh, you bet. Beautiful day in San Angelo.
It did turn out really good.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Much better than Monday.
Yes. Yeah.
Monday was hot and sweaty. This is nice.
This turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. That was the episode with Dr. Beran, and really highlighting how to start running or improve the running that you're doing. We're still just really trying to promote activity, people moving more. If you have any questions, of course, you can text or call us. And if you have any ideas for other episodes or any other topics you want me to cover, shoot us a text, call us 325-777-0737 or email live@testosterone.com, and we'll see if we can get more of these. Thanks.